Hello, everybody. It is News Roundup time again. We are going to talk about some of the big stories and take your comments on the air. The place to write to me is at Lookner on Twitter. That's where to reach me, at Lookner on Twitter. So I want to hear from you when we talk about these stories. Let me know your thoughts. And hey, thanks to our moderators. Sarah55 is modding, Melissa McQueen, Mark Helton, Marcus Bell. They're all modding there. Thank you. Also, we got, let's see. Papa Bear is modding. Hello, Papa Bear. And as some people in our chat are saying, happy Father's Day. Hope everybody's had a good Father's Day out there. And hey, thanks to our viewers. We got viewers watching like Betty Nelson, Hope Kopasek, Bob Meyer, Krista Barker, Docklin Downey, Jennifer Tower, Jan Porter, Strange Reverend, Rascally Rabbit, Darth Tater, Louise Marzell, and others. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All right, we're going to begin by talking about, I want to talk about, hang on a second. I haven't heard anything more about this Iran nuclear plant thing. This was an interesting story. It's like Iran's only nuclear plant has shut down for several days. Last I read, it wasn't clear why. Iran's Seoul nuclear plant undergoes emergency shutdown. Now, it might just be this article, the AP article suggests maybe they ran out of parts or something. I don't know. It's very strange. Let's see here. Iran's Seoul, this is an Associated Press, Iran's Seoul nuclear power plant has undergone an unexplained temporary emergency shutdown, state TV reported on Sunday. So there was not an explanation offered for it. An official from state electric company Tavernier said on a talk show that the Bushehr plant shutdown began on Saturday and would last for 3 to 4 days. Did not give a reason why. Without elaborating, he said power outages could result. This is the first time Iran has reported an emergency shutdown of the plant located in the southern port city of Bushehr. This plant went online in 2011 with help from Russia. Iran is required to send spent fuel rods from the reactor back to Russia as a nuclear proliferation measure. Travis says Israel hack. Now, I wonder, one thought you have when anything like this happens in Iran, when something catches on fire or gets destroyed or doesn't work, you wonder if Israel is involved. But this you can see this plant. I don't know that I haven't heard this plant discussed in we're this is their huge worry in terms of Iran's Israel believes Iran is trying to produce nuclear weapons, and wants to produce nuclear weapons. And so, Israel periodically takes actions to keep Iran from producing nuclear weapons. But I don't know, this, I'm not used to hearing about this plant in that context. You can see here it says, the plant is fueled by uranium produced in Russia, not Iran, and is monitored by the United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency. The IAEA did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the reported shutdown. But so not knowing anything about it, I mean, I wouldn't be, if Israel thought this plant had something to do with Iran weapons, I wouldn't be surprised if Israel did something. But I haven't seen any reporting about that yet. Let's see. Earlier on Sunday, the company is that the blah 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 blah. The state electric company released a statement saying that the nuclear plant was being repaired without offering further details. It said the repair work would take until Friday. Now, this is interesting. In March, a nuclear official said the plant could stop working since Iran cannot procure parts and equipment for it from Russia due to banking sanctions imposed by the U.S. in 2018. So is there some kind of part or something they're not getting that they need? The plant, which sits near active fault lines and is built to withstand powerful earthquakes, has been periodically shaken by temblors. There have been no significant earthquakes reported in the area in recent days. So what do you think is up with this? You know, another reason Israel could do something, Aaron asks, why would Israel do anything? Oh, Israel goes into Iran and does stuff all the time to slow nuclear weapon to slow the nuclear weapons progress that they see happening in Iran. But you know, another question about this is like, is there some weird thing where this is Israel like sending some sort of signal to Iran? Like, is Iran doing something Israel doesn't like? It may not be Israel, right? So, but certainly you think, if you hear about something bad in Iran, one thought you have is it Israel? Now, and I have not heard of any kind of, you know, if there was some huge radiation leak going on, you'd expect that this would be detected. So I've not heard any kind of reporting about any kind of huge radiation leak going on. Here he says Israel has a new prime minister, same old tactics. Again, we don't know what the cause of this is. I'm just saying that would be one possibility. Maybe something messed up at the plant. Maybe something really broke down at the plant. Doc says there's a lot of issues that could cause problems, especially if it was poor construction. Kathy thinks Iran is working diligently to hide what they were really using the plant for. The plant is actively monitored by the UN, though. Look. The plant is monitored by the United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency. Hey, Linda Belk is modding too. Thank you, Linda. Let's see if there's any other articles about this. Betty Nelson says cyber attack, maybe. Could be. John Elliott says technical overhaul. Shaggy says, I'd like to know why the UN who is monitoring the plant won't say squat. So it's a fair question. I assume if the UN is monitoring the plant, we'll hear a statement from them soon. You'd think we'd hear something from the UN. Necrosynthetic says, whenever Iran has nuclear problems, I always end up wondering if Stuxnet found its way somewhere and caused it. Well, Stuxnet was designed to do a specific thing. That was this cyber attack. Stuxnet was is the program Stuxnet. It was basically code that carried out a cyber attack on an Iranian nuclear, I believe it was on their centrifuges to help produce enriched uranium. And it's widely believed that the U.S. and Israel were the ones who created Stuxnet. And that was back in when? Like 10 years ago or something? I don't know. I got to go here. 2010. Wikipedia. Stuxnet is a malicious computer worm first uncovered in 2010 and thought to have been developed since at least 2005. But I mean, at this point, I believe Stuxnet was just It's not floating around doing other things, I don't believe. Stuxnet reportedly ruined almost 1/5 of Iran's nuclear centrifuges, which they use to produce the fuel which in theory can be used for nuclear weapons. The worm affected over 200,000 computers and caused 1,000 machines to physically degrade. GK says could be another piece of malware. See what other reporting there is on this. Now, this is a Reuters article. Iran's Bushehr nuclear plant temporarily shut down. The article is 2 paragraphs long. There is no information in this article. It's just the quote from State TV. Okay, that's not very helpful. The power plant opened in 2011. Al Jazeera. Iran's only nuclear plant undergoes emergency shutdown. Official says temporary shutdown for repair started on Saturday and could last up to 4 days. This is the first time ever Iran has reported an emergency shutdown of this plant. The plant went online in 2011 with help from Russia. Is this the same article we read before? No, that's a similar article. There is a quote from somebody here. Who is this person? Oh, Abbas Aslani, a senior researcher in Tehran, or at the Tehran-based Center for Middle East Strategic Studies, told Al Jazeera that the shutdown could be a blow to an Iranian power supply already strained by cryptocurrency mining. That's interesting. The shutdown is more important in terms of the power outage than the nuclear aspect of the facility. That's interesting. So this analyst believes that because they're already having trouble in supplying electricity just generally in Tehran and in Iran, he thinks that's the bigger issue with this. These days, he says, we are seeing that the cryptocurrency mining in Iran is consuming electricity in the country, and this has caused some power outages in the past. I haven't yet seen any reporting on this which says, there could be some kind of really bad radiation leak problem or something. I'll certainly keep an eye on it. Is it worse than 3 Miles Island? No. 3 Mile Island? No. Wizard. At this point, no. No, nothing harmful has gotten out of the plant that we know of so far. Aries says, still do not believe anything Iran says anymore. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see more. Again, I would assume, since the plant is being monitored by the UN, I would assume if there's some kind of problem with health risk that we will hear about it. They did shut down the plant. Oh, I wonder, I thought I saw a couple posts on this. Hang on one second here. This is what Aurora Intel, who I follow, had to say. They said their take was aging assets with sanctions, previous statements about unable to obtain parts due to those sanctions, but issuing conflicting statements on current repairs versus emergency shutdown, odd one. Repairs causing an emergency shutdown, no conclusion should be jumped to be honest. So this post was from Shayan Sardarizadeh, who is a BBC journalist in Cheyenne, said that the head of Iran's power generation and distribution company, Tavernier, said on TV that the nuclear power plant was put in an emergency shutdown. But the company itself also issued a statement that said the plant is undergoing repairs. And Aurora Intel is saying that seems like two different things, emergency shutdown and repairs. So which is it? Oh, now also they posted this. I hadn't seen this yet. What is this one? Now, this is from March. This is an article from March, which says Iran says sanctions could force shutdown of nuclear power plant. I don't know why this is why. In March, there's this article from Bloomberg where it says Iran said its only nuclear power plant could stop operating this year as the country struggles to keep the unit running because of sanctions. So is that why it shut down? Iran said that the U.S. banking restrictions have made it difficult for Iran to transfer money and procure necessary equipment. So that's a possible reason for it too. Cogito thinks Iran is like China about their nuclear reactor leak last few weeks. They lie. Well, remember, with the China nuclear plant that there's reportedly some sort of issue at, that's not just China saying stuff. You have French companies that work with China on that plant have said they think they can take care of the problem safely. So that's not a case where the Chinese plant is like, we have to just listen to what China says. Here's an article from a few days ago. French companies admit problems at nuclear plant in China. One of the companies said there had been a buildup of gas at the heart of the reactor. They say the plant is still safe. New York Times. Two French companies involved in the plant acknowledged problems on Monday, but said they could be handled safely. So we're not just hearing from China about this. We've heard from two French companies, including France's main power utility. France's main power utility owns 30% of that Chinese plant. Hang on a second. Hold on, I gotta just do this thing. I got to reset my iPad. Once in a while, it acts up, and I want to see the Twitch chat. Aries thinks Iran is sending a message to Israel, sending a message to Iran's new president. Doc says it's not a meltdown. I don't know which one Doc is talking about. Whether it's Iran or Israel. I mean, whether it's China or Iran. By the way, this just came out from BNO Newsroom. U.S. reports 96 new coronavirus deaths, lowest since March 21st of last year. Aaron Odd says, could it turn to a meltdown? Well, we don't exactly know what's wrong there. So the best I can say is I don't know. So here we are, this is a year and 3 months after this. A year and 3 months later, we once again are at this level of deaths per day. Mark says they don't report deaths on the weekend, check Worldometer. So I understand what you're saying, Mark, that maybe because it's a weekend it's less. But there have been other weekends in recent weekends. So the overall trend is down. Let's hope it keeps going down. I mean, this is the overall trend. Diana says like 20 states didn't report. I'm not saying that level of deaths will be the level. I'd have to see if there's some kind of specific reason that it was this low. I mean, I would be surprised if there was a reason. Usually BNO News, if there's a number that's a result of like some kind of reporting being off, usually BNO will mention that. Well, if I hear more about the reporting, I'll let you know. All right, give me a shout. Let me know your thoughts at Lookner on Twitter here as we are on the live news roundup. Our viewer Debbie Smurthwaite wishes everybody a happy Father's Day. Yeah, a couple people are again asking about agenda-free TV. So I guess I will explain it once again. As I do every stream, I will explain it again. Actually, I don't even need to explain it because I can just look at the tweet that Agenda Free TV, i.e. me, posted today. Look at Agenda Free TV on Twitter. This is today. What happened? By the way, is this extra? Hold on a second. Let me just make sure this is... Ooh, did this not get deleted? This was supposed to be deleted. That's live. There's 2 tweets with the same thing. Oops. Hang on. Why are there 2 tweets saying the same thing? Somehow my tweet got sent out twice. Well, let me fix this. I will fix that. Hang on. First, I need to delete my duplicate tweet. Okay, that's done. Next, what I'm going to do is people ask about Agenda Free TV. Where's Agenda Free TV? Where is it on YouTube? Well, as I do every single broadcast, I will explain to you. But again, you can just look. Agenda Free TV on Twitter posted it today. A reminder to our YouTube viewers. When there is not a big breaking news story, which we would cover on Agenda Free TV, we regularly do live news roundup streams on our other YouTube channel, Agenda Free TV 2. So there you go. Nothing happened to Agenda Free TV. I can't make the news. So, if there's a big news story, we'll cover it on Agenda Free TV. If not, we'll do some news roundups here. You can reach me on Twitter at Lookner. There is one current tornado warning in the U.S., by the way. That is in Iowa. I'll keep an eye on it. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to another topic. There was this really bad crash in Alabama. Eight young people were killed among 10 total killed in an Alabama crash. It's really bad. This is Alabama.com. Oh, here. This is actually the story. Al.com. This says 9 children. I wonder if it got changed to 8. This says 9 children, 1 adult killed in Alabama crash, the most horrific accident in Butler County history. A crash on Interstate 65 in Butler County on Saturday. This was yesterday. I think we talked briefly about this. We didn't get into detail about it, but the details about what the crash involved, I think just only came out today, that this many young people died. A crash on I-65 in Butler County killed 10 people, 9 of them ranging in age from 9 months old to teenagers. Those killed were in a Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch vehicle and a small SUV. The vehicles involved in the crash were thought to have hydroplaned, which I'm going to look up the definition. I believe that's kind of when you spin out over when the road is wet. Aquaplaning or hydroplaning occurs when a layer of water builds between the wheels of the vehicle and the road surface, leading to a loss of traction that prevents the vehicle from responding to control inputs. If it occurs in all wheels simultaneously, the vehicle becomes, in effect, an uncontrolled sled. A father and 9-month-old girl were killed in one vehicle, and the other 8 victims were in the Girls Ranch vehicle. Wow, just terrible. And this is Cody Fox and his daughter Ariana, and they passed away. And his fiancée is in the ICU, according to this post from the South Pittsburgh Mountain Volunteer Fire Department. Certainly condolences to their family. And then the young people killed range in age from 4 to 17. Girls from the facility were traveling in 2 vehicles on the way back from a trip to Gulf Shores. The vehicle in front was involved in the deadly crash, and the girls in the second vehicle did not see the carnage of the wreck. This is the Girls Ranch. I'll show you what that is in a second. The children who were killed were a combination of foster children, privately placed children, and family members of chaperones, Smith said. Condolences to all their families, too. Just terrible. The Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch. The ranch serves as a... Oops. So hang on a second. What just happened here? Why did that happen? The Girls Ranch serves as a foster home for girls from abusive or abandonment situations. Condolences to the girls' friends, too. It is supported by the sheriffs of Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties. So these girls who lived at this, place that was either for them a foster home or, a home that they could stay in away from an abusive or abandonment situation. they were coming back from a trip and they 8 of them died. And then I'm not sure about the vehicle they were traveling in. Yeah, it's really bad. This is the page. This is Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, and they set up a GoFundMe. They posted this 6 hours ago. One of our vehicles was involved in a multi-car accident. We are raising money to help with funeral-related expenses, medical costs for the injured, and counseling for the others of this devastating event. One of our ranch vehicles was involved in a multiple car accident. So I did not know this. I mean, I know I had heard about this accident yesterday. We talked about it briefly, but it wasn't until today that I heard that it was involved all of these girls. Just terrible. Jessica McBride says there were other girls in another vehicle behind the crash. They had stopped at Cracker Barrel to eat. They had no clue about the crash until they got back to the ranch. They were an hour behind. I had not heard that. Wow. Aaron Odd says hydroplaning is scary. It's worse than slipping on ice. It's like someone grabs a hold of your steering wheel and pulls you off to the side. It's very hard to get control again. Jessica McBride says, my daughter was on that same highway headed to Birmingham. They were about 1.5 hours behind the accident. It rained so hard. Erie says, easily worst news of June by far. Claire Bear says, heartbreaking news. Misdemeanor says, I've hydroplaned a few times. Luckily, I didn't move the steering wheel and stayed on the road. I had one time when I was younger where it was raining and I turned the car and the car just literally spun out. And I wasn't going like 100 miles an hour. I was just taking like a turn, but it was raining and it just, I guess I took the turn too fast and it just, fortunately I didn't hit anybody. But the car just spun around. Jessica said they pulled the driver out. Yeah, it said that in the article. It said the driver of the Girls Ranch bus was pulled from the vehicle by a bystander. Zipper says, always make sure you have good tire tread. Not saying they didn't, but if the tread is low, you will hydroplane. Chris Lund says, I hydroplaned once in my life, drive slow ever then since it was raining. Yeah, I always remember it too. I always remember that too. I will never forget it. I was just lucky when I was young and my car spun out that I didn't hit anybody. Because I had no control of the car. Once it spun out, it just spun. It was just utter luck that I didn't hit anybody. John Elliott says they were in some kind of bus that got sandwiched between two tractor trailers. I'll have to see if I can find any other information about this. Here's a CNN article that came out today. It says, witness describes aftermath of horrific crash. The accident happened on I-65 northbound at mile marker 138. So let me just show you where this is. There's I-65, and we need to find mile marker 138. I'm not going to be able to do this. Let's find Butler County. There it is. Butler County, Alabama. There's I-65. As to where the mile marker is, I have this issue. Oh, that's 114. Let's go find another one. This is, what mile marker is this? 128. What did it say? 138. That's 130. You got one here or not? Not seeing one there. $142. So it's like roughly speaking, somewhere in here, I guess. Basically. I mean, this is what the road looks like in that area. Two lanes on either side with a divider. That's the general area where it happened. I think I've driven on this road. I think. Don't hold me to it. I've driven on one of the on the interstates in Alabama. Okay, and so it happened at I-65 northbound at marker 138. A tropical depression dumped heavy rain on Saturday. A CNN producer witnessed the accident while driving home to Atlanta from a family beach trip in Destin, Florida. Lacey Willis said the weather had been bad about an hour prior to the crash. At the moment of the wreck, it was not downpouring, she said, but there was still a lot of water on the road. Willis had just climbed into the back seat of the car with her daughter when she felt an impact, she said. Their car had hit the guardrail, setting off the airbags and sending them into the grass in the median. Really? Immediately, she said her husband told her they needed to get their daughter out of the vehicle. She grabbed her daughter and was walking as far away from the side of the accident as she could when she noticed other vehicles had started to catch fire. It sounds like this car was in the accident. Her husband helped pull one family from a truck that had flipped on its side. There was a man without a shirt on. He was yelling, looking for nurses, doctors. Some people were stuck on the cars on the side of the road because their cars were on fire. The driver of the Girls Ranch bus was the only survivor in that vehicle. NTSB described it as a multi-vehicle crash. Oh, there's a picture. Wow. Look at that. Terrible. Smith visited the crash site on Saturday and said it was unlike anything he'd ever seen. The damage was so extensive he couldn't recognize his own ranch van. That's the CNN article if you want to read it. Mantronic says, seems like a bystander pulled the driver to safety and then tried to rescue the children. However, the vehicle was already engulfed in smoke and flame. Jessica says there's videos of the aftermath with flames, nothing of it happening in real time. Strange references. Hydroplaning is why I got an all-wheel drive with traction control. So I don't know. I haven't heard specifically what happened. I don't know if they know what happened. Jacqueline Morgan says, can't imagine what the driver of the bus is feeling. Fahrenheit says the driver will have this bad PTSD. Linda Belk says, what a horrible nightmare. Yeah, it's really terrible. But I remember yesterday we knew there was an accident, but I hadn't heard about all the deaths. John Elliott says, they said there were no downpours at time of accident. John heard about 18 vehicles being involved. I would like to see an article that says it. This article in Fox News says it was at least 15 vehicles. Happened around 2:30 p.m., just after exit 130. The coroner said the vehicles likely hydroplaned on the wet road. I wonder if like that particular area was extra wet. A couple of our viewers were talking about a possible depression in the road. So yeah, I mean it is. I wonder if there was a particular area that was especially slippery. Sarah says 2 of the children belong to the driver. I didn't see that. This is from today. Oh, this is the article from today. Let's see if it says anything else. 4 of those killed in the crash were teen girls who attended Reeltown High School. Okay. 4 of the girls killed in the crash. So this is our updated article from today. 4 of the girls killed from AL.com. 4 of the girls killed in the crash attended Reeltown High School. Now I wonder, so maybe they don't, I don't know how the ranch works, like if it's, the 4 Reeltown High School students were residents at the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, a home to children in crisis. The other children in the van were the son and daughter of the ranch director and her 2 nephews. Oh, so the bus driver was the ranch director. Ranch director Candace Gully. Oh, if I'm getting this right, the bus driver was the ranch director. And her son and daughter were killed? Oh my gosh. And her 2 nephews. Wow. They had spent a week at Gulf Shores, one of 2 vacations they take every year. The second van was several miles behind because they had stopped at Cracker Barrel for lunch. There were 2 vans of kids, but one was way behind. It was only when they returned to the ranch, the second van, that they learned of the deaths of their family members. Wow. Awful. So again, that's from today. That's at AL.com. Yeah, yesterday, all I knew yesterday was it was an accident. I remember we read an article about it yesterday. It just said there was an accident. And all these horrible details come out. Just really bad. Barbara Danko says, horrible scene. On the sidewalk guy says the people on the second bus are going to have survivor's guilt. All right. So, anyways, not a good story. Now, Still Kicking sent me this article, which is from today, from ABC News. The Butler County Sheriff said the episode unfolded when two 18-wheelers crashed and sandwiched a bus. See? That's what one of our viewers was talking about. The sheriff said the episode unfolded when two 18-wheelers crashed and sandwiched a bus between them, from the bus from the girls' ranch. Wow. I mean, maybe it was just one vehicle lost control and led to everything else. Thank you, Still Kicking, for sending that in. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Cherry Cola says trucks the cause. Maybe one truck, lost control. So, we don't know. Maybe just somebody did something wrong. But obviously we don't know right now the exact sequence of things. Hey, I got an update, by the way, from B&O News, because B&O sometimes watches the broadcast, and B&O News had posted before that that the number of COVID deaths in the U.S. was 96 today, which is the lowest since March 21st. And one of the viewers said, well, it's a weekend, isn't it low? I think Mark Warling said it's a weekend, it's lower on the weekends. But what I was saying is well, anyways, so this is what B&O News had to say. And then some people were wondering if there's any kind of reporting problem today. So B&O wrote to me and said, it's true that quite a few states are not reporting on Sunday, which is why record lows are always going to be on Sunday. And record highs typically happened on Thursdays and Fridays. But as you mentioned, there have been many weekends before. Last Sunday, there were 114 deaths, so 96 deaths today is not a significant change, and it fits with the general downward trend. The 7-day average is 297, down from 370 just a week ago. So what he's saying is, B&O is saying that, yes, some states didn't report today, but some states always don't report on Sunday. So there doesn't seem to be any kind of big difference between this Sunday and previous recent Sundays. So I appreciate B&O writing in and clarifying. Mark Warling says, okay, thanks, that sounds correct. On the accident, one of our viewers said, Reed Israel said, was it a gas transport truck or anything, some incendiary or hit a gas tank? Yeah, I don't know if cars caught on fire because one of the cars had something flammable in it or not, or like one of the trucks did. Okay. let us continue on here. You can give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner. Hey, a quick thanks to our moderators again, Linda Belk and Shortstack and Melissa McQueen and Sarah55. They are all there moderating. Also, Papa Bear, thank you for moderating. Ellie Bourne, Idaho Star, as well, thank you. Also, thank you, Babs H, for your support. Thank you, Babs H, and thanks, Babs H, for shouting out the moderators. Oh, just one of our viewers mentioned tornado warning. So there's a few right now in Iowa. I'm just looking around to see if anything looks like insane. Like this is a tornado warning, but I'm not seeing. This is the velocity radar on the left. You're looking for like a green, red, yin yang symbol kind of thing, where like you have like a oval of green next to an oval of red. I'm not seeing that here. You should certainly pay attention to the warning and do what you're supposed to do in this area and take cover. But I'm not seeing the obvious sign of a huge tornado on this one. And then this one, maybe something right around here. That's where it would be, where that white and that red is. I'm actually starting to see maybe a little debris. Ooh, that's not good. Look at this. Hold on. See this? Actually, it went away. See that blue right there? This is the correlation coefficient. This radar on the right would show a debris ball. So when you see blue like that, that could be a tornado throwing up debris. And that's just before Fort Madison. But, hold on. The debris ball, the blue goes away in the last frame of the radar. See, that's the second to last, then last. So hopefully, I mean, this is severe weather, but hopefully it's not a tornado right now. This is radar indicated rotation, it says. That's for Illinois and Iowa. Let me just check here. That's one. That's that one. Then I'm a little confused about this one. Anyways, let me look up something real quick. So this is, you can see National Weather Service Quad Cities. This is the Fort Madison. Well, this is. It looks like it's Iowa. Fort Madison, Iowa, is right on the border with Illinois. It looks like. Let me go back here. So hopefully it's not a tornado. Fort Madison, Iowa. See, they do this on Google Maps now. They say tornado warning. They didn't used to do this. Fort Madison has 10,000 people. That would be bad. Well, hopefully, see, the good thing is the last two radar frames, see that blue? You don't want to see that blue, but the last two radar frames, there's no blue there. And then you're also not seeing you have this blue here, but you're not seeing you don't want to see a red oval next to it. So I'm hoping it's not an actual tornado right now. Certainly some severe weather. I mean, I can show you the rainfall, but no, that's not the Yeah, I mean, there's some intense rainfall there. That's on the right there, but hopefully it's not a tornado. But that would be a bad place for it to hit. I mean, it's actually fairly densely settled in that town there. Jeff says it's right across the Mississippi River. Yeah, there's the Mississippi River. But this, you do not want a tornado. You don't want to go tornado going anywhere. But I mean, this is look at if the tornado was supposed to go. They actually have you don't want it going through here from west to east, because you have this whole. If they were unlucky and you had a tornado go right through here, there's a lot of housing in here. It's that's a lot of. That would do a lot of damage if it went through that way. But hopefully it's not actually a tornado. Diana says, look at traffic cameras. Well, if you have one, if you find one that you think is useful, please send it in. My problem when I look at traffic cameras, in a situation like this, is I don't know where to look. I don't know what I'm looking at, so you end up just look, you don't really see anything. Because there's so many of them. Doc says, we were supposed to get bad storms today in North Carolina, but it kind of fizzled, thank goodness. But that cell there looks bad. Oh, in terms of storm chaser field, I mean, I don't know if they're out there right now because it's dark. You could go to Severe Studios and see if they have live storm chasers up. I can't show their streams. So you can go to Severe Studios. So they do have some people out there. See Storm Chaser Map, Severe Studios. Actually, it's probably still daylight there. No, it's not. It's 10 o'clock where I am. So, but I can't show you this stuff live. But what I'll do is I'll take a peek and see. There's a person. There's a little bit of daylight there. It's kind of dark. Owen McCormick is streaming from there, and then there's a person. I don't know that he's in Fort Madison though. No, Owen McCormick is not. It looks like he's not in Fort Madison. I don't think there's anyone. If I'm looking at this map right, I don't think there's anyone on Severe Studios who's in that particular area. Astro Josh says there's a train cam on Fort Madison on YouTube if you look it up. Is it showing anything? Should I look it up? I can look it up. Is it worth looking up? GK says there's several great chasers on Twitch. And there's other sources of live streamers out there, so of live storm chasers out there. Yeah, there's a site called Fort Madison, Iowa, USA Virtual Rail Fan. They're showing the sky in Fort Madison on YouTube. Black Raven sent me that link and said, watch the tornado live now. It's not showing a tornado live now. Why are you saying that when you send that to me? It's not saying that. Not showing it right now. And Still Kicking sent me this. I guess this is from today. I hadn't heard about this. NWS Des Moines says more damage from the tornado near Pella along Highway 163. Leafield, a special marine warning tends to be a warning over water, not land, about the weather. So I'll keep an eye on it. There's now one tornado warning. Just the one near Fort Madison. That's the one tornado warning right now. I don't even know if are there tornado watches active right now? There are no tornado watches. The tornado watch says that, hey, in this area, the conditions are favorable for tornadoes. So there can still be tornadoes, but there are no tornado watches right now. Hey, thank you so much, Doc. Hey, Doc, that's very kind of you. Very much appreciate that, Doc. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. A special marine warning is a warning issued by U.S. National Weather Service for potentially hazardous marine weather conditions, usually of short duration, producing sustained marine thunderstorm winds or associated gusts of 34 knots or greater, or blah, 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 affecting areas included in coastal waters forecast, a nearshore marine forecast. It's basically over water. And there's all these, you can read the specifics on it here at... They'll talk about water spouts, for example. You can read that at Wikipedia. So here's a warning for special marine warning, Lake St. Clair. And this is, it says like, no. Here's one for Lake Erie, and it says, there's a strong thunderstorm, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. John Elliott says there's a couple of chasers on my radar. What is it? It's one site I know, Severe Studios, is a site that shows chasers. What's the other one? There's a couple sites that usually show a lot of chasers. There's Severe Studios. Oh, Live Storm Chasing is the other one. You can try that one. LiveStormChasing.com. Not chasers. Yes, LiveStormChasing.com. And then they have a map on that site. And so if you go to Live Storm Chasing, they have a map. And I don't know that anybody's live right now, but they list these different chasers. And I think when they're live, they're probably on the map. So you can check that one out as well. Linda says no one is chasing there presently. You know, in addition to the tornado stuff, keeping an eye on, there's also the fire stuff. Sonic sent me this. Arizona crews battling bear fire south of Alpine. This is from Sonic. Bear fire in Sitgreaves National Forest. It has burned 2,200 acres. This is from ABC 15 Arizona. US 190 in both directions south of Alpine is closed due to the fire. I guess this is the site posting about it. 2,200 acres. I'll keep my eye on the fires. This is the post for bear fire. Cause lightning. Been burning for about 4 days. Zipper says 4 people are live chasing. Are you talking about severe studios? Or live storm chasing? I see people live on severe studios. Hey, thank you, the princess. Thanks, the princess. The princess says, I've been too busy to listen live lately, but appreciate the daily news streams. I listen to the replay, though. Hey, thanks, the princess. I appreciate you watching and listening to the replay. It's very kind of you. Also, hey, thank you so much. That's very nice of you, Timothy Roy Jr. Thank you, Timothy. That's extremely nice of you, Timothy Roy Jr. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you, Timothy and the princess. So I'll be keeping an eye on the fires, keeping an eye on the tornadoes. Usually with fire coverage, we will only do like a fire stream if it's like a fire threatening a lot of people or, you know, buildings, that kind of thing. Or there's some kind of, you know, specific urgency and situation that sets it apart from the norm. Okay, let us move on. By the way, some positive news, which is that the National Hurricane Center, so, you know, Claudette is a tropical depression now. I guess it might strengthen again, but it's moving. We'll talk about Claudette for a second. But there's no other, aside from Claudette, which is moving to the east, there's no other area right now of concern at the moment that NHC is watching and saying this might turn into a tropical cycle in the next few days after Claudette. Now Claudette expected to re-strengthen before it exits the coast of North Carolina. So let's show you. First of all, let's show you where the rain is right now. Let's take a look at Claudette. Let's show you where the rain is. We'll go to Wonder Map. Some of you might have gotten affected by this rain. We didn't get it here in Orlando. Why is Wonder Map not opening? Here it is. Ooh, is this it? Huh, this is interesting. I was expecting to see more rain. Where's clouds? Satellite. I guess it's in this area here. It's not very well defined. So that's the current, this is the Wonder Map current precipitation. Let's see what National Hurricane Center says. Where's the cone? Cone. See, it says it's supposed to strengthen to a tropical storm, I guess tonight. It was a tropical storm. Now it's not anymore. Now the wind, it just depends. Whether it's a tropical storm depends on how fast the wind is. Right now the max sustained wind is 30. It's got to reach 39 for tropical storm. And then it's going to go out to sea. Could affect some of Canada, but it's not going to strengthen to a hurricane. So let's see here. By 2 p.m. tomorrow, it's going to be, off the coast, even before that. But see, there's some tropical storm warnings for the coast of North Carolina. See all this blue? That's tropical storm warning, and yellow is tropical storm watch. And then, what do they say? Discussion. As Claudette approaches the coast overnight and Monday morning, re-strengthening is anticipated, and the cyclone is forecast to regain tropical storm status before it exits the coast of North Carolina. Fine. Claudette is expected to produce heavy rainfall and flash flooding from North Florida and southeastern Georgia into the Carolinas through Monday morning. Flash, urban, and small streams flooding impacts are possible across these areas. Let's see what they say about the wind is not supposed to get above 45 mile an hour max sustain, which is what it was, I believe, earlier. For a hurricane, it would need to get to 74. And let me just show you the rain predictions. U.S. rainfall potential. I mean, fortunately, this is for the next day. This is for basically the next 24 hours. The green is 2 to 4, so that's not too bad, right? At least you're not seeing orange and red, or even yellow. So the dark green is 2 to 4, the light green is 1 to 2. And then storm surge, what are they saying, like 2 or 3 feet or something? 1 to 3 feet and 1 to 2 feet. There's been a lot of flooding. There was a lot of flooding in Alabama. Erie says, wait until September, peak hurricanes. Gwen's Ferraro says, we're getting hit up north. Where are you, Gwen? I'm not sure exactly where you are. Rita's Reel says, it's pouring here in Charleston. Oh. There it is. You can see Rita's Reel is here. Look, that's where Rita's Reel is, in Charleston. There's the rain. This is about a 1 hour radar loop. Charleston is not in a good position right now. See, because this band of rain, the band of heavy rain is just going right across Charleston. They didn't get lucky. And then there's a bunch of rain moving up here through North Carolina. But this band is just moving, it's just it's going through Charleston. Hey, a quick thanks to Geraldine Karstensen. That is very kind of you, Geraldine Karstensen. And thanks, Geraldine, for thanking the moderators. Thank you. Geraldine Karstensen, thank you. I found Waldo says it's just churning. Rita's Reel says it's the same type of rain we have on any given summer afternoon. It's not been too bad here like in Alabama. Okay, that's good. I mean, it's just, again, it's encouraging that you look at the rainfall forecast that we just looked at. You're not seeing anything above 2 to 4. Flash flooding potential. And then see, it says 10% slight. It's not moderate or high. So flash flooding potential light. So not too bad. I mean, I would pay attention if you're in these areas to your local authorities, but, not too bad. It's day 2 and day 3. Let's see. Okay. So hopefully that can exit without too much further incident. There was a lot of flooding in Indiana too, but that wasn't from this storm. This is from AL.com. This came out today. Man, 3-year-old dead in Tuscaloosa County. Birmingham search continues for missing man. Alabama floods. Flash floods that swept through Alabama late Saturday night might be responsible for at least 3 deaths. More than 20 people were rescued by boat due to flooding in Northport. Flooding caused a mudslide on 21st Avenue in downtown Tuscaloosa. According to National Weather Service, up to 15 inches of rain will be possible in localized areas in Alabama by the end of the weekend. Jeffrey says, we're getting hit here in Michigan. Sandhaas says, big storms predicted in, is it southern Michigan? But nothing yet so far. Yeah, Melly, we talked a bunch about that unfortunate car accident. Just rewind the stream, Melly. You'll see we talked about it for a while. Paul OKC says, send the rain to Oklahoma. Necrosynthetic says, I grew up in Kansas and have seen tornadoes destroy the house across the street. Shaggy, I think Reed Timmer has been out. He's been doing some storm chasing, hasn't he? I wasn't following him. I didn't look today to see if he was. Hey, what is this? Reed Timmer said confirmed tornado in Coldwater, Michigan 4 minutes ago. Tornado warning in Michigan. Hey, look, tornado warning in Michigan. Look at this. I'm looking. So, Coldwater, Michigan. Let's zoom out here. What am I looking at? Where is it? It's like, this is hard. It's like southern Michigan. Southern Michigan. See, there's like the mitten. It's down here. And then, so if you look on the radar, there's definitely a lot of rain there, but, hold on. I hadn't noticed that. There's no debris ball, and I'm looking, this is, so a few radar loops ago, see, this right here was the area of concern, this tan and green here with the red. And then there might have been a tornado that went through Coldwater. No debris ball. Maybe might be debris. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Ooh, that could still be. I wonder if this is still a tornado. I wonder if it's a tornado. Quincy. What did the warning say? It says weather spotters confirmed a tornado at some point. Weather spotters confirmed a tornado in this area. This is southern Michigan. Oh, Bama Nation says Reed was on a break. So let me see if I can get any updates about the what's going on there. So look, this is a reporter, Maria Serrano. She's a reporter, and she says, I just got called in for a possible tornado touching down in Coldwater, Michigan. Our crews are on the way. She just posted that. Coldwater, Michigan is a city of about 11,000 people. You can see it's in southern Michigan. They may have had a tornado just go through there. See, this is, I mean, it's Once you get outside the city, it's pretty sparsely settled. But within the city, there's just a lot of houses there. A lot of buildings and houses. So I hope they're okay there. What, hang on one second here. Which county is Coldwater in? Branch County. Okay. Anyways, I'll keep an eye out, and I'll let you know if I hear any reports of damage from there. Hopefully, it either wasn't a tornado by the time it got there, or it didn't do much damage. And then if we go back to the radar, see, it says tornado warning. So they extended the tornado warning. So, hey, this might still be a tornado. Look. Right there, Jonesville. See, it says Jonesville. If you zoom in there, that's the same. See the green and the tan? You don't really want to see that. Green and tan is like, these are wind speeds. So tan is actually a higher speed than red. But green means going towards the radar, and red means going away from the radar, red or tan. So this is basically wind going fast in opposite directions from each other, right next to each other, which is what you'd expect to see in a tornado. Wind going in opposite directions to each other, right next to each other. So this could be a tornado right now. Could be. I'm not saying it is. In Jonesville. See, look, at 9:57 p.m., a confirmed tornado was located over Coldwater, Michigan, heading east. Weather spotters confirmed tornado. So this would be Jonesville, Michigan. Well, if I hear anything about what happened, I'll let you know. Let me show you Jonesville, Michigan. Jonesville has about 2,200 people. Southern Michigan. Margot says, Reed says, did he post again, Reed? He didn't post again on Twitter. Yeah, earlier he said to take cover east of Coldwater. That was about 10 minutes ago. Excuse me. Let me check one other thing here. Then there's also tornado warning in Missouri. This is in Missouri. I don't know if there's a tornado. There's certainly severe weather going on there. I don't know if there's a tornado right now. Radar indicated rotation, it says. Okay. Hey, thanks, by the way, to Kirk Spaziani. I very much appreciate your support. Kirk Spaziani. Thank you, Kirk. We have Old Raj is watching there on Twitter. Linda Belk says, Reed was storm chasing yesterday. Jeff Piotrowski was too in Iowa. Reed said he was burned out. Thank you, Linda. Babs says, hopefully everybody's okay there and no major damage. Jeffrey Wild says that Coldwater is in Branch County, Michigan. Darth Hater says, my house got brushed by a tornado last year early on in the pandemic. Fortunately, it was only an F1 and only caused minor superficial damage. Nicole says, tornadoes are super scary to me, and I live in earthquake and wildlife territory. Brendan says, a rare tornado in Michigan. I don't know how often they have them there. Michigan.gov, an average of 16 tornadoes occur in Michigan each year, according to Michigan government. Okay. Betty Nelson says, news is reporting tornado. Betty says, I'm in hell, just north of Ann Arbor. I am by hell, just north of Ann Arbor. Is there a Hell, Michigan? Our viewer Betsy said there was a tornado in Coldwater, Michigan. Yeah, apparently there was. Betsy Corelli. Betty says there is a Hell, Michigan. Andrea Peterson Kelly says, I'm watching the storm right now. Lots of lightning, Mother Nature's fireworks. Now, I don't know where Andrea is. She's watching one of the storms we were talking about. Michelle says, I am near Hell, Michigan. I did not know there was a Hell, Michigan. Hell, Michigan, an unincorporated community in Livingston County. It's there. It's northwest of Ann Arbor. Has no defined population statistics of its own. Very interesting. There are a number of theories for the origin of Hell, Michigan's name. One theory is that a pair of German travelers stepped out of a stagecoach one sunny afternoon in the 1830s and said to each other, so shone hell, translated as so beautifully bright. Their comments were overheard by some locals and the name stuck. That's just a theory. The second theory is tied to the hell-like conditions encountered by early explorers, including mosquitoes, thick forest cover, and extensive wetlands. Hell has been noted on a list of unusual place names. That's from Wikipedia. Hedge Enemy says the original Hell is in Holland, if I recall correctly. Short Stack says, I forgot there was a Hell, Michigan. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on the tornado situation. I'm just looking at the radar here. Just looking for anything like super particularly concerning. Okay, that's that one. One warning in Missouri, one warning in Michigan. All right, you can give me a shout. I am at @Lookner on Twitter. We are doing a live news update here, a live news roundup where we're talking about different stories. We're taking your comments on the air. So write to me on Twitter, @Lookner on Twitter, with your comments. Just a reminder, this is, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching Agenda Free TV 2. I have 2 news channels on YouTube. I have one, on the other platforms, it's just one channel. But if you are watching on YouTube, you're watching Agenda Free TV 2, be aware that my main news channel on YouTube is called Agenda Free TV. That's when there's a single big news event, we'll be at Agenda Free TV covering it. So you might want to subscribe to that. And also, I have a channel on YouTube where I sometimes do some live streams that are not news related. That's called Lookner. That's only on YouTube. That's called Lookner if you're interested in that. You can always find all the channels on YouTube on the Channels tab. And then on the other platforms, there's just one news channel, Agenda Free TV. So if you're watching that, you don't have to subscribe to any other news channels of mine because that's the only one. All right, here's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is, give me 1 second here. I want to talk about a couple more stories while we're here, but I need to take a 1-minute break. Oops, why didn't that work? Let's try this. Give me 1 minute. I'm coming right back, and we'll continue with more live news coverage. We are back. We are back. Okay. Our viewer Stuart Paul Newby wrote in and said the virus is bad in Brazil. I don't know if there's new Brazil numbers that came out recently today. I will peek. I can go to yesterday, Brazil. I don't know if it was low because it was the weekend, the death count there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the cases in Brazil are still kind of trending up, and deaths are, not as high as they were 3 months ago, but still kind of way up there compared to how they have been. There were actually, speaking of Brazil, there were like huge protests today in Brazil. Anti-Bolsonaro protests. Well, that was yesterday. Brazilians rally against Bolsonaro as COVID deaths top 500,000. Demonstrators yesterday took to the street. This is from Axios. Demonstrators yesterday took to the streets in at least 22 of Brazil's 26 states to protest President Bolsonaro's handling of the pandemic. He's basically been like a pandemic denier. Brazil has the world's second highest death toll and third highest number of reported cases. I don't know why. I still don't know why they do this. I have no idea why any media outlet reports absolute number of cases or absolute numbers of deaths. It's just meaningless. If you're trying to figure out how a country is doing, you shouldn't compare their absolute numbers in cases and absolute numbers of deaths and absolute number of anything, because they have very different populations. What you should be comparing is the number of cases and deaths that in hospitalizations given a number of people, like per million people. And it's like meaningless. And it's just the standard. Every article I read, it's always like the total number of deaths. They have the second highest number of total deaths in the world. Well, who cares? That doesn't tell you anything. What tells you something is how many people are getting sick and dying, and how many infections you have per a certain amount of the population. How frequently it's happening. And it's amazing to me. It's pretty useless information if you're just giving me absolute numbers and you're not telling me about the relative populations. And it's just like the standard for some reason. I just don't understand it. Only 12% of the country's population has been vaccinated against the virus, which is way lower than US, UK, Israel. Here's a bunch of pictures from protests. As Brazil tops half a million deaths, protests against the president. Anti-government protesters took to the streets in more than a score of cities across Brazil on Saturday as the nation's confirmed death toll soared past 500,000, a tragedy many critics blame on President Bolsonaro's attempt to minimize the disease. The marches were promoted by left-wing opposition parties who have been heartened by Bolsonaro's declining poll ratings, with next year's presidential race looming. Bolsonaro's supporters have taken more often to the streets in the past month, in large part because Bolsonaro's supporters have taken more often to the streets in the past month, in large part because many of them agree with his dismissal of restrictions meant to stifle the coronavirus and anger that lockdown measures have hurt business. Critics say such messages, as well as Bolsonaro's promotion of disproven treatments such as hydroxychloroquine, have contributed to the soaring death toll in a sluggish vaccine campaign that has fully inoculated less than 12% of the population. This is interesting. A political science professor in Brazil said, for the leftists, putting their followers in the streets is a way of wearing Bolsonaro down for the election. At the same time, they are contradicting themselves and losing the discourse of maintaining health care because they're causing the same agglomerations as Bolsonaro. Now, the protests are outside for what it's worth, but certainly I would not advocate people crowding together, inside or outside, if there's, most people are not vaccinated and there's a lot of the virus going around. No. We have Nick Santoros getting timed out because posting obvious garbage misinformation. Nick posting obvious garbage information saying the U.S. death numbers are way overinflated, when in fact you can find article after article saying, if anything, they're underreported because if you look at the total excess deaths that happened compared to a normal year, it's more than the COVID deaths. But Nick Santoro, keep posting your utter garbage misinformation. Keep at it. You just might need to do it at the Crazy Person Nutty channel, Toxic channel, because you're not going to be allowed to do it here. Chris Lund says, kooky alert. So, for example, here's an article from The Conversation. I'm not going to get all into this now, but it says, it talks about trying to figure out how many people died from COVID, and it can be hard. But it said, one way around this dilemma is to focus on how many deaths were recorded over and above the number expected by epidemiologists and statisticians had the pandemic not happened. This is called all-cause excess mortality. It's based on historical data. Estimates from this kind of analysis suggest the reported number of COVID deaths may be an underestimate. Many more people died during the pandemic than normally would have during that time period. And it's a higher number than how many people have officially died of COVID according to death certificate counts. For example, the number of deaths above what was expected in 2020 was almost 412,000 people, while the number of deaths the CDC attributed to COVID was 356,000. These type of analysis cannot conclude that the excess deaths were all due to COVID itself, only that the aggregate impact of the pandemic resulted in more deaths than would have been expected in its absence. So again, it's just, if you want to read more about this, it talks about some of the difficulties. I haven't read this article, but it looks like it talks about some of the difficulties in trying to figure out how many people died. But, I mean, again, just the raw number of excess of deaths in the U.S. was greater than the expected number. And the amount of excess deaths in the U.S. last year were more than the amount of official COVID deaths. So it just seems ridiculous to say, given that there was not some other major cause of death I'm aware of, way more than normal, it seems ridiculous to say that the number of deaths in the U.S. is way overreported. That just seems kind of ridiculous. Watch it, Bradley. You're going to get hidden. Okay. All right, give me a shout if you have comments at Lookner on Twitter. Hang on. Rangers says John Rahm, who won the U.S. Open today. Yes, Spain's John Rahm won the U.S. Open. Told his journalist friend who was getting into golf, died in the ICU a few months ago. I think he had a lot to play for. He is the first Spanish player to ever win the U.S. Open. Reed Israel says, "How is India doing?" Overall, it's not, the pandemic isn't over in India, but it's not as bad as it was, according to the numbers, like a month or so ago. I mean, the daily case numbers, it's probably an undercount, obviously. It's, there's probably plenty of people, especially in rural areas, not getting tested and not getting treated. But, I mean, I do think that case numbers represent, assuming they're consistently calculated, that the way they figured out is consistent over time, they're a lot less than they were a month or so ago. And the official death numbers are down. So, it's certainly serious there, and people are getting it and dying, but it's much better than it was, at least according to statistics. Okay. Let's go to... Oh, I wanted to update you about the whole thing that we covered last night. And, the incident near Fort Lauderdale where the car in the Pride Parade, a truck, hit a couple people and killed one of them. And it turned out it was an accident. The Fort Lauderdale police actually confirmed it was an accident. Let me show you an update on this. Authorities release initial findings of investigation into deadly crash at Wilton Manor's Pride Parade. Wilton Manors is north of Fort Lauderdale. Wilton Manor's mayor calls incident a tragic accident. It was Saturday evening when a white pickup truck struck two people just before the Stonewall Pride Parade was set to begin. The driver was 77. According to Fort Lauderdale police, the 77-year-old driver, he was older than I thought he was. The 77-year-old driver had ailments that prevented him from walking in the parade, so he was selected to drive the lead vehicle. Police said the vehicle accelerated unexpectedly. It moved forward in anticipation of the start of the parade, striking two men. One of the men died. The elderly driver remained at the scene and has been cooperating with investigators. The police said he showed no sign of impairment. Wilton Manor's mayor called the incident a tragic accident. And then I saw that the Fort Lauderdale police also said it was an accident. No, I don't think the Fort Lauderdale mayor actually apologized for calling it a terrorist attack. Hold on, let me show you this. Where is this? You can see the Fort Lauderdale mayor has now issued a second statement in which he doesn't apologize for his initial vehement declaration that the crash was clearly no accident, but he says now it appears to be an accident. That's from Daniel Dale. So the Fort Lauderdale mayor, who last night he immediately said this is a terror attack, which it wasn't. And we were talking about that last night. And as I said last night, it was totally irresponsible for him to say that. He said, I feared it could be intentional. We didn't just fear it. He said it was to media. As the facts continue to be pieced together, a picture is emerging of an accident in which a truck careened out of control. So as far as I'm aware, he has not apologized for saying it wasn't an accident. And then also, Read Israel had sent me a tweet where, so this that said that the people who were hit were in the same chorus as the person who hit them. Where is it here? If I can find it. Yes, you can see this is from Christian De La Rosa, who is with WPLG, says the driver is a member of the Fort Lauderdale Gay Men's Chorus. So are the two victims he ran over was his truck, according to the chorus president. So very sad. Now, who posted this thing in the chat? Somebody posted something which I thought was kind of silly and ridiculous. Somebody posted in the chat something like, yeah, I read he got the vax and then he passed out. I have seen nothing saying that this accident was somehow caused by the vaccine. I've seen nothing saying that. So stop posting that garbage. If you're going to post that, you better post a source. Or else I'm going to assume it's anti-vax garbage. Chris Lund says, wonder when they will learn to keep their mouths shut until a full investigation has taken place, or will they? It was just ridiculous. He literally, right after it happened, gave a media interview where he said it was a terror attack. It's just like ridiculous. Read Israel says, when you make a public accusation, you mean to make a public apology. C. Michelle Sparks said, if the driver had problems walking, perhaps someone should have driven for him. Read Israel says, I thought they said his foot got stuck. Yeah, that was a report we heard last night that we heard a report last night that said that the guy said what is it, his foot got stuck between the pedal and the gas or something. I don't know that law enforcement has said that yet. Yeah, the official CBS Miami. An official told CBS Miami that the driver told police his foot was stuck between the gas pedal and the brake, causing him to lose control of the truck. So, I mean, I don't know if that happened, but maybe that's what happened. Darren Markley says the mayor needs to apologize to the driver of the vehicle. It actually puts the driver of the vehicle at risk. I mean, look, I'm not saying the driver of the vehicle is blameless. I don't know the specifics, but his car did run into a couple people. But if the driver of the vehicle, the footage of him was out there, and then you had the mayor saying it was a terror attack. So someone could watch that and think, oh, that guy committed a terror attack, which would seem to me to put the driver's safety at risk. Datrick says, can pretty much say whatever, then issue a backhanded apology, and then that's that. Shaggy says, the mayor spoke minutes after the accident was still shaken up. People always want someone's head on the stick. Well, I don't care when he's the mayor. So whether he's shaken up or not doesn't excuse him just declaring it a terror attack when he clearly did not have an adequate basis for doing so. Thank you, Still3TO, who says, it is becoming more and more difficult to get agenda-free news these days. Thank you for trying this. I hope it's a huge success. Thank you, Still3TO. Speaking of which, if you like agenda-free news coverage and you want to support the channel, you can always donate by going to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv, because your support is how I do this. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Ian says, did the mayor delete the tweet saying terrorist did it? So I don't believe it was a tweet. I believe the mayor gave an interview, like on camera, where he said it was a terrorist attack. I saw it. So he can't really delete it because it's already been recorded. Our viewer, Sorenzo Lamas, I like your screen name, says the argument that the claim that COVID deaths have been overreported never made any sense to me. If COVID deaths were overreported, then deaths of something else would be underreported because excess deaths were up because of the number of excess deaths over what was expected. That was Sorenzo Lamas. Spoiler alert, I don't know that anybody out there is recording the Hawks 76ers game, but I'm going to talk about it right now. So turn off the broadcast if you don't want to hear it. As our viewer said, where's our viewer who said it? I can't find it now. Somebody in Twitch mentioned it. Shaggy says 76ers are done. Yes, the Hawks beat the 76ers. Maybe if you really were into it, you would. If you really cared about it, you're probably just watching it. But for a very casual fan who happened to not be watching it but does have some sort of interest, the Hawks beat the 76ers. WSB's Allison Mastrangelo says the Hawks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 6 years. 6 years? Did they go 6 years ago? I don't even remember that. That recently? Shaft ZX says, I just got done watching it. I don't trust the process. Conference finals. Wow, in 2015 they went. I didn't even remember that. How about that? Okay. Darth Tater says, I watched the basketball game. Betty Nelson, you said you were correct last night to call out the mayor for declaring it a terror attack. Oh, and one of our viewers asked if there was an update on the story in Arizona, which is the person who drove into a crowd of cyclists, and 6 cyclists were in critical condition. And then the person took off and got shot, eventually got shot by police and taken into custody. So is there an update on that story? I don't know. Good question. Now here is this. Witness tells of horror as truck rammed into bike race in Show Low, Arizona. This is from Arizona Family. Cyclist Tony Quinones had only just shaken hands with the fellow cyclist and wished him good luck when a truck spread into a crowd of bike riders. He was watching bodies going on top of the hood, bodies going to the left, bodies going to the right, about 6 minutes after the race had started. Wow. Of the 7 cyclists hospitalized, 6 were in critical condition and 1 was in stable condition. The suspect, a local resident, was in stable condition. A man that this witness met before the race had a compound fracture, which is, I believe, when the bone goes through the skin. He said blood was flowing from his head and his nose after the pickup hit him. I'm just saying, hey man, keep breathing, health's on its way. And there's like 6, 7, 8 other guys around who all doing the same thing. Authorities are trying to determine why the man driving the truck rammed into the group of cyclists participating in the annual 58-mile race that drew hundreds of participants. He was shot by police outside a hardware store in Show Low. We don't know the motivation, said Show Low police. Wow. Look at this. Quinones said some cyclists wondered whether the driver of the truck had fallen asleep behind the wheel. But Quinones said he saw the man accelerate toward the cyclists. He went right at us, he said. After the truck's driver hit a telephone pole, cyclists ran up to the truck and started pounding on the windows, screaming at the driver to get out. Instead of stopping, Quinones said the driver hit the accelerator and backed out, drove down the road, made a U-turn, and then headed back toward the cyclists, but did not hit them again, and then drove away. Payne said the driver did not comply when officers tried to arrest him, but the circumstances of the shooting were not immediately made public. Just crazy. Diana L. says, if the guy fled the scene, I would say not an accident. Rita's Real says, sounds like road rage or some kind of craziness. I was wondering, I had this picture when hearing about this of like, was the guy like, could he not go, was he like slowed down in driving and got mad because he had to go slow or something? I'm not sure. Jeff Haas says, sounds intentional. Aries thinks it was not an accident. Darth Tater says, no accident. Hang on, I have to delete something. Twitch Tweaker, you're going into the penalty box. Put there by me. See, Michelle Sparks says no one got it on film. Well, I don't think any of the cyclists would be filming it, you know? So I don't know how many people were around there. I mean, it's not, the place was like on a highway next to like some kind of business. Sholo police post anything else about this? Yeah, this was the update this morning. See? Cyclists were participating in the Master Men category, 55 to 70 plus. 6 cyclists were transported, 4 arrived in critical condition, 2 were subsequently transported where they remained, 2 arrived in critical but stable condition, 2 to 3 walk-in victims stable condition, blah, 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 blah. Suspect is transported and remains in stable condition, 35-year-old local resident. The investigation is ongoing. Hedge Enemy says some cyclists wear GoPros for protection. John Elliott says there were no news updates on it when I looked yesterday. Let's see if there's anything else. The New York Times has an article today. This was from today. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. This is the same witness who was interviewed in the other article, Tony Quinones, who rode in the race, said, look at this. Look, 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 look. See, we hadn't seen this detail. A black pickup that had been driving in the opposite direction crossed over 3 lanes and headed toward the cyclists. He assumed the driver was turning into a parking lot. Instead, he said the driver plowed directly into the cyclist. The witness said he intentionally did not go left into a parking lot. He drove his truck directly and intentionally into our group, and you could hear him accelerate until he hit the telephone pole. Now, I don't know why the guy did this. That's the truck. Cars are allowed on the road with the bikers during the race, he said. He said he did not know who had been hit by the crash. It's taken local cycling community. Okay, so this is that's according to a person who was at the race. But this says that, again, this witness said, he said he had been driving in the opposite direction. He crossed over 3 lanes and headed toward the cyclist. That's really nuts. Yeah, we showed you yesterday where this was on the map. I think it was on Highway 60, if I remember right. I think, now I can't remember. There's like a business it was at. Now I'm going to have to find it. What was the name of the business? I forget. I'll have to look it up. I'm going to show the road right now. Front of the Horn Collision Center, according to Fox 10. So it was... Horn. Is that right? Horn Collision Center. It's right here. So that's where it happened. And we showed you this yesterday. So it's like a highway, right? So, you know, the bikes were going in one direction, and I'm guessing maybe half the road was blocked off, and in the other direction wasn't blocked off. The bikes were going one direction. Then the guy was coming from the other direction, and he crossed over and he hit the bikes. But that's the building where you saw emergency vehicles in the front there. Right here. This is the road. The driver's not been publicly identified yet, which is a 35-year-old local man. Rita's Reel says, back in the day when I was in a running group, people would get mad at the pack running down the street if we slowed them down. It was kind of scary when they would yell and cuss at us. No one says, I knew a woman that received a giant wooden hand that was carved into it, had a middle finger carved into it. When she drove by cyclists, she would put this giant wooden hand out the window. She hated cyclists. Crazy as hell. Jeff says, sounds like there are plenty of witnesses, Jeff, huh? By the way, a quick thank you to ShaftZX. Shaft says, thanks for doing these news roundups. Thank you so much, ShaftZX1. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Shaft. Jeff says, wonder how serious the driver's injuries are. I don't know. He's in stable condition. He did get shot. We'll have to keep checking on that story and seeing what information comes out. Betty Nelson says, now that is a terrorist. Well, strictly speaking, I don't know, I don't know if he did it for a certain cause, which is what would be required for terrorism, as I understand it. But, yeah, I wondered, was he on something? We don't know that. Who knows what he's told police? Just disturbing. Rita's Real says, I spoke too soon. It's rumbling and grumbling kind of bad now. So she's in Charleston where they're getting severe weather from the tropical storm remnant, and maybe to be, again, tropical storm. So if we do this, what is this? We'll get the Charleston radar. Yeah, thunder and lightning. Lightning going on in Charleston. Thunderstorms, you can see. Oops. Well, maybe some of Charleston, it looks like. That's from radar scope. Hopefully it moves past you soon. Looks like all that orange is moving. That band of orange is moving past you. Maybe you have more coming. You have to check Wonder Map. You have to check a bigger radar to see if you have more coming. Where's Wonder Map? Where is it here? Yeah, it looks like that's that yellow band right there. That's going. That's near Rita. Oops. Well, we'll do that. Do this. Do this. Maybe Rita, once that band goes by, you'll be okay. Doc says that's a heavy band. But that's it. That's the storm. Oh, some people said Reed was cooking. I guess Reed Timmer is cooking. He said, here's the final result of the Dominator pork butt. I have to admit, this is one of the few things I've done in life that worked out. Gizmo loved it, never stopped smoking. So it looks like he's maybe taking a little break today, see? This is Reed Timmer, who normally, he's a weather expert. Oh, thank you also. Hey, Chris Lund. That's very kind of you, Christopher Lund. Thanks for your generous support. Chris says, we value your time and appreciate the content and discussion. Thanks also, mods. Yeah, let's thank the mods again. Thank you, Chris. That's very nice of you. Lizzie, Melissa McQueen, Sarah Joy, Mark Helton, Marcus Bell, Short Stack, and very much appreciate it. Ellie Bourne, Idaho Star, Papa Bear. Thank you, moderators. Kelly Arnold says, love Reed Timmer. Thank you again, Chris. Love to see everybody shouting out the mods. All right, here's what I think we should do. So I think we hit the stories that I wanted to hit. I'm thinking maybe, I mean, it's kind of late. I'm thinking maybe we'll do like a short Lookner stream, but like really soon after this. Like maybe start like 15 minutes after this. I might even need a snack during the stream. Just because I don't want it to get too late. Things have been getting so late. So maybe we'll wrap this up and then we'll do a Lookner stream like shortly after this. What do you think about that idea? But I'm going to try not to go too late. The last 2 nights we streamed on Lookner, I think, till 1:30 in the morning. It's too late. So when I say Lookner stream, what I mean is a stream on my personal channel. So on YouTube, I have 3 different channels. Agenda Free TV 2, where we do the news roundups. My main news channel, which is Agenda Free TV. And also Lookner, which is here, which is the channel on which I do some live non-news streams. So I think the plan's going to be that I'm going to try to get on like maybe 15, 20 minutes after we get off the air, as soon as I can. I'm just going to do a stream on Lookner, some sort of stream. I don't think it'll be a long stream. And we'll hang out there for a little bit. So why don't we do that? What do I talk about on our personal channel? Oh, we talk about all kinds of things, just not news. It's a lot of random topics. All right, so why don't we do that? Oh, thank you, Reed Israel, for your support. I appreciate that, Reed Israel. Thank you. Thanks for the sticker. Stay dry, Reed Israel in Charleston. So that's what we'll do. Of course, if there's big news tonight and I'm awake, we'll just go on Agenda Free TV and cover it. You know, that's always what we do. And then also, I always cover breaking news on my Twitter account, @Lookner. So you can follow me on Twitter, @Lookner, for news coverage. And then for live news coverage, subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe Agenda Free TV 2. And make sure when you subscribe to the channels on YouTube, you click the notifications bell and you choose all notifications. I really appreciate you watching, and also all of the comments and news links and that you guys sent me, and your help and your participation. Because that's a big part of the stream is your comments. So thank you guys for writing in. What was I going to say? Oh, remember, there's a Discord where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. The Agenda Free TV Fans Discord. So check that out. Also, if you sign up for the Discord, it's free, but if you sign up, you get great notifications whenever I'm coming on the air. They're really reliable. And if you have the Discord app on your phone like I do, if you download the Discord app onto your phone, the notifications pop up on your phone whenever we're going live. So I find that very helpful. So check out the Discord. The link to the Discord is at the bottom of the YouTube video description for this broadcast, and the mods can post it as well. And also, if anybody has any interest in being a volunteer moderator, that would be awesome. Just let the mods know, and they will tell you how to proceed. And I actually posted on Facebook. There's an email you can write to. I just posted it there. Hey, speaking of mods, thanks again to the moderators. They're always around. They're awesome. They're the best. Linda Belk, Marcus Bell, Melissa McQueen, Mark Helton, Lizzie, Sarah Joy, Short Stack, Ellie Bourne, Papa Bear, Idaho Star. Thank you, moderators. Very, very much appreciated. And thanks to everybody who donated too. That's really kind of you. You are the ones who let me do this full time. So I very much appreciate the donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you can always donate by going to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv, but thank you. Okay, so again, the plan is to wrap this up, and then as soon as I can, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes, get over there, just start the stream on Lookner, and we'll do a stream there. I don't want it to go too late, so that's my plan. Let's see if we can make this work out. It might require me eating a snack on the air on Lookner channel, though, if I'm not going to eat it before. Yes, the Lookner stream is only on YouTube, 11 Glowfly. It's only on YouTube. Okay, thank you to our viewers, Raj and others watching over there on Twitter. On Twitch there, Shaggy, On the Sidewalk Guy, 11 Glowfly, John NS, Still 3TO, Daedric, Patriot Lady, QQ Wist, Thief in the Night. They were all watching, and others watching on Twitch. Barbara Danko, thanks for watching. Betty Nelson, Kelly Arnold, Elizabeth Scott. What is this person doing? Hold on a second. Got someone posting some crazy stuff. Let's see here. Sorry, I missed that before. All of our Facebook viewers, thank you. And our YouTube viewers, Smee, Trouble with the Trees, Aries Pure, Rita's Real, Darren Markley, Cherry Cola, C. Michelle Sparks, Sam Patton, Doc, Jeff Ha, Michelle R., Kat Penny, Nicole from Canada, Carlos Rosa, Marzel, John Gidry, Mantronics, C. Michelle Sparks, Margot, Darren Markley, John, and who else there? Aaron Odd, No One, John Elliott, and others. June 0130, Melly Belly, Shaft ZX. All right, guys, so let me wrap this up. Again, the plan is to get on the air again in a few minutes, and we'll do a stream on Lookner. How does that sound? Let's do that so it's not too late. Okay, so that is it for now. Thank you for joining the News Roundup. We're going to have more news coverage soon, and I'll be on the air soon on Lookner channel in a little bit. All right, thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you soon with more live news coverage here on Agenda Free TV and Agenda Free TV 2.